Something feels off, not loudly, not enough to panic, just enough to notice in quiet moments that you're moving through your days without really being inside them. You wake up, you do what needs to be done, you respond, you finish things, and somehow the hours pass without leaving much behind. It's not that life is terrible, that's what makes it harder to explain. Nothing is obviously wrong, and yet something feels missing. You might tell yourself you're just tired or busy, or that this is what adulthood feels like. But there's a reason this feeling keeps returning, and it's not random. It didn't come from nowhere. Stay here a little longer, we're not naming it yet. Before we go any further, this needs to be said clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. Living on autopilot isn't a personal flaw. It isn't a lack of gratitude. It isn't a failure to try hard enough. It's something the human mind does when it has carried more than it had time to process. When keeping things moving felt more important than feeling them fully. So, if you've been functioning without really arriving anywhere emotionally, that makes sense. If you've been present on the outside but distant on the inside, that's understandable. You didn't choose this because you're weak. You slipped into it because it helped you keep going. And you're not broken for still being here. You're not behind. You're not doing life incorrectly. Right now, nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be explained away. This is just a safe place to notice what's been happening without judgment. Autopilot didn't appear out of nowhere. It wasn't sudden. It formed quietly over time. Usually it starts when life asks for more than you can comfortably feel. Not in one dramatic moment, but in many small ones. Disappointments that didn't get space, stress that never fully released, responsibilities that kept stacking without pause. At some point, staying emotionally open became tiring. So your mind did something practical. It narrowed the focus. You kept showing up. You kept moving. You learned how to get through days efficiently, and that worked. It helped you function. It helped you avoid being overwhelmed. Autopilot isn't emptiness. It's containment. It's what happens when your system decides this is too much to hold all at once. So it dims the volume, not to punish you, but to protect you. That's why it feels neutral rather than painful, why it's dull instead of dramatic, why you can't point to a single cause. This wasn't a mistake, it was an adaptation. And adaptations don't disappear just because the pressure changes. They linger, quietly. Living on autopilot doesn't usually look like chaos. It looks like normal life, slightly blurred. You might notice that days blend together, not because nothing happens, but because nothing really lands. Conversations happen, but you're already thinking about the next thing. Moments pass, but they don't stay with you very long. You might feel oddly disconnected during things you once cared about. Not unhappy, just distant. Time moves in strange ways. Weeks feel short, years feel fast, and yet individual moments feel thin. You do what's expected of you. You meet obligations. You respond when needed. But internally, there's a sense of watching yourself live instead of being fully inside it. Even rest can feel empty. You stop moving, but your mind never fully arrives. Scrolling, distracting, filling the silence with something, anything. And when you try to explain this feeling to yourself, the words don't quite fit, because it doesn't feel like sadness, or burnout, or dissatisfaction. It feels like being slightly out of sync with your own life. These are quiet signs, easy to dismiss, easy to normalize. That's why autopilot can last so long without being questioned. The hardest part about living this way is not the numbness itself, it's the confusion around it. You might search for a clear reason, a single event, a moment where things changed. But autopilot rarely comes with a story you can point to, because when it begins, the mind isn't focused on understanding, it's focused on coping. Clarity requires space, and space is usually the first thing to disappear. When survival mode becomes normal, reflection feels unnecessary, or indulgent, or too slow. So the why never fully forms, not because it isn't there, but because it was never given time. You adapted while moving forward, not while looking inward. Over time, this becomes your baseline. And when something becomes normal, it stops feeling noticeable. That's why questions like, "Why do I feel like this?" don't lead anywhere. Your system learned how to function without answering them. This isn't a personal blind spot, it's a protective one. You weren't avoiding the truth, you were prioritizing stability. And now, noticing that something feels off doesn't come with an instruction manual, just a quiet awareness. That's where you are now. Autopilot keeps things steady, but it does take something with it. Not all at once, slowly, almost politely. The first thing that fades is depth. Emotions still exist, but they feel flatter, less textured. Joy becomes brief. Annoyance passes quickly. Even sadness feels muted. Then time starts to slip, not in memory, but in presence. You remember what happened, but not how it felt to be there. Connection changes too. You can care about people and still feel slightly removed, as if there's a thin layer between you and everything else. And somewhere in all of this, your sense of you becomes quieter. Not gone, just harder to hear. Preferences blur, desires feel vague. Questions like, "What do I want?" feel heavier than they should. This is the cost of staying contained for too long. Not damage, but distance. Autopilot trades intensity for stability, feeling for functioning. That trade can be necessary for a while, but over time, it leaves you wondering where the richness went. When life started feeling neutral instead of alive, nothing has been taken permanently, but something has been waiting. If any of this feels familiar, there's no need to rush past it. You don't have to label it. You don't have to solve it. Just noticing is enough for now. Autopilot survives on momentum, on moving from one thing to the next without pause. So staying with this awareness, even briefly, is already different. You're not being asked to dig into the past, or imagine a different future, or change how you live, just to remain here for a moment longer. With the recognition that something in you has been quietly holding things together. There's more to understand, not all at once, and not in a way that demands action. Understanding unfolds slowly, and it's still unfolding now. The first shift out of autopilot doesn't look like change. It looks like noticing, without trying to improve anything. Not asking, "How do I fix this?" Not searching for motivation, not demanding clarity, just observing the distance without stepping away from it. You might start to notice when you move through a moment automatically, when your body is present but your attention drifts ahead, when you finish something and feel nothing in particular. This isn't failure, it's awareness returning in small pieces. Autopilot loosens not when it's challenged, but when it's no longer needed as much. And that only happens when the system feels safe enough to feel again. So this shift stays gentle, almost unnoticeable, a pause after a task, a breath you didn't rush through, a moment where you realize, "I'm here right now." No meaning attached, no pressure to hold on to it, just a slight widening of experience. A crack in the routine where presence can pass through. This isn't a solution, it's an opening, and openings don't demand anything from you. They simply exist, waiting for when you're ready. If you've made it this far, there's something important to hold on to. You're not empty. You're not disconnected beyond repair. You're not broken. What you've been feeling isn't the absence of life. It's life that learned how to quiet itself so you could keep going. Autopilot doesn't mean you disappeared. It means a part of you stayed steady when things required endurance. And the fact that you're noticing it now matters. Not because you need to change anything, but because awareness is a sign of return. You don't have to force yourself back into feeling. You don't have to wake everything up at once. You're allowed to come back slowly, in pieces, at your own pace. Nothing is wrong with where you are. You're still here, and that's enough for now.